Hello, good afternoon, day one for the podcast, The World Without Nothing. So, today's topic is going to be about false progress. Just want to give my insight to that topic for you today. So, for my definition of false progress is doing something that's not making any changes for you. Pretty much just looking busy, essentially, right? And so for me, I sadly experienced that when I started to have a change of a mindset where I needed to get better and start changing the way I did things, or more on the thought side. So for me, when I wanted to change, what I did was buy a bunch of books, mostly just self improvement books. Here's the thing. I read book after book after book. Months went by. Guess what? Nothing changed. Huh? How's that? I've been reading all these great review books, all these very educational books. Why is nothing changing? And that was a point in time where I was reading, and I was reading my book. Maybe it was just the subject or the topic I was reading about that just kind of like that, and it hit me. I'm just looking busy. That's it. I've been reading all this pieces of literature, but I haven't done anything with it, right? And I will admit there was books that had how should I say it? It was like exercises. I never did any of the exercises. I read them, but I just went past them. But I didn't do anything with the information I was reading. I just read it. Okay. Like for me, in a way, it was like wanting to just knock out books. Not for the sake of learning, but just the sake like, hey, I read all these books. But what does that matter if I didn't do anything with that knowledge, right? And that's where, having that click of like, why am I reading and not doing anything? I'm just looking busy. And it was just one of those things where false progress. I feel like I'm going to be changing as a person, as an individual, by reading all these books, obtaining all this knowledge, which is great. That's what you want to. But I wasn't doing anything with it. In one way, I felt like I was progressing. Oh man, obtaining all this knowledge, putting in my head, I want to be doing great things that will change my life. Yet, flash flash forward a few months later, still in the same situation, and it was just one of those situations where, for me, that was just reading, right? For other people, wherever I mean, wherever it may be, you're like, hey, I'm putting in work. I'm busy. I'm doing all this work. I'm busy. I'm studying. I'm busting my butt off. But then if nothing changes, they don't see real change. Like from an outside point of view, it's like, what are you doing? you're saying you're busy, you're doing all this stuff, but you're still in the same position where you're at months ago. Oh well, I was busting my butt off. What do you mean? Like I was doing all this, and that. And it's like okay, but you're still in the same place where you're at. Or if something did change, it was to almost no effect. And it's like, sure, you were looking busy, but you didn't do anything with that. Any real change. What you were doing was doing the easy stuff, the stuff that you can get done right away, and left the hard stuff on the plate. You know, you just loaded your plate full. You loaded your plate full, but it was just with small tasks, easy tasks, stuff that you can knock out. But because you loaded up so full, you were busy. My plate was I loaded my plate up with a bunch of books. Oh golly, man, it's gonna take me months, maybe years to finish all these books. You know, eventually, if I was going on that track of finishing a book, every month, a month, a year's time, I would have been in the same place. Trying to be proactive is great, but if the things you're doing isn't doing anything, you're just wasting your time. And I'm not saying along the lines of like learning a language, learning a skill, like that's great. Even if you don't do anything with that, you can still use that in the future, right? But in doing things like for me, I wanted to get out of the position where I'm at. And yes, sadly, I'm still in the same position. But obviously, I am making changes in my life to get to the point where I will get out of where I'm at. Just not as fast as I wanted. Then again, it's not like I had a plan like in 6 months I'm getting out. Like not out of jail, of course, but like getting out of this position. I'm sadly still in the same place, but I'm making small progress that will lead to fruitful changes in the future versus me just doing nothing and still doing nothing years later, right? And so that's the thing I wanted to talk about was if you're doing something, is it actually meaningful or is it just to say you are being busy? You are busy. I don't got time to do all this other stuff because I'm busy, but is it the thing that is going to change your life? Are you doing the 80% easy stuff that will make little to no changes? Or are you doing the 20% that will actually make the most change in your life? And if I got to ask myself that question, I'm probably still doing 80%. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in the position where I'm at today. So, my question to you and to anyone listening is when are you going to step into the room of the 20% and fill your plate with the 20% to actually make that big change in life? Because you can fill your plate up with 80% all day, all night. You're still going to be in the same place where you were. And if there is any change, is going to be mediocre change. And that's where you got to understand that whatever you're doing, you have to make sure it is actually real progression and not false progression. Because then you're going to be trapped in the hole for a long time till you wake up. Oh, shoot. I was in the hole. So if anyone does or they think they were in a situation where they were just doing false progress, if you can leave it in a comment somewhere. Just let me know how you plan on fixing it, or if you have fixed it or solved it, in what ways did you go about it? So um, that's the first episode. So thank you very much for listening. Have a good day. Take care.